Thanks to the supporters of channel members, Steel Blink. 3 games to go, and we are still top of the Premier League. This is all in our hands. But we now have to play Manchester City, having just played in the Conference League less than 2 days ago. So it might be all about to go wrong as well. Hello, welcome to part 17 of my FM24 beta save with Brighton. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have that Premier League game against Manchester City. We also have the second leg of the Conference League semi-final against Saltsburg, which we only drew 1-1 in the first leg because we tried to rotate. It didn't really work. We ended up, by the end of the match, having fullbacks on the wings. It was a disaster. We were 1-0 up. I tried to defend it. I can't defend. Probably shouldn't have done that. But that was Thursday night. It's now Saturday afternoon, and I'm really tempted to put my Jurgen Klopp cap on. One moment. The Klopp cap. Because that's absurd. We're trying to win the Premier League, and we can't just play this game on Sunday. What possible... Why can't this game be on Sunday? Absolute madness. We played Thursday night, and it's now Saturday afternoon. We don't even get a Saturday evening kickoff. Less than 48 hours since we played in Europe. And we must win if we're going to try and win the Premier League. The league games we've played since the last episode, we've won them both. West Ham and Brentford won them both pretty convincingly. It should theoretically be in our hands. We're not even yet completely qualified for the Champions League next year, which I don't fully understand because we're 10 points clear of Arsenal and there's only 3 games remaining. So I'm not sure why we've not already qualified for the Champions League, but let's try and win the Premier League, shall we? This is the team for the game against Manchester City. We've got Perry in goal. Back for a Valley, Dunk, Diamande and Walker-Peters, Pizarro and Vermeeren in midfield, Bailey, Smith-Rowe and Abada behind Ferguson up front. We are starting to accumulate injuries and tired players now as the fixtures start to pile up. Fatty is going to be out for the next 3 weeks. Sunset picked up a knock in midweek. Andre's still recovering from his injury. Rico Lewis is still glitched and it's very frustrating. Patrick Berg and João Pedro still recovering from their injuries. Stupinian tired from midweek. It's not ideal. It's certainly not the ideal way to face Manchester City. But if we can somehow find a way to pull off a result, our next 2 games are definitely winnable. This is it, basically. If we win here, I'm pretty sure we're going to win the Premier League. But obviously, that is a very strong-looking Manchester City side. And it is effectively Haaland versus Ferguson, the current superstar striker against the next one coming through. And Ferguson has started scoring more and more frequently as this season has gone on. So fingers crossed, this can be the passing of the torch match. I realise Haaland's only about 23, even in this version of the future. But you know what? It's still time to pass the torch to the younger and better man. It's Evan Ferguson o'clock, and we've got a corner. Abada with the in-swinger, and nobody can get proper contact on it in a Brighton shirt. Smith-Rowe plays it back to Pizarro, falls back to Smith-Rowe inside the penalty area, and Abada is there. And that's a 23rd goal of the season for Abada to put us 1-0 up after just gone half an hour. And what a hugely important goal that could turn out to be. Smith-Rowe very much involved. Pizarro playing the ball forward. We get a little fortuitous drop in the penalty area when Smith-Rowe tries to force a chance of his own. But Abada is there. And that is a huge, huge goal for us. City trying to have the immediate reply with the overhead kick, but Pizarro manages to get it clear. And City still attacking, so it wasn't very clear, was it? And I think Perry's made another brilliant save there. Lucas Perry, what a signing. What a signing that man is. And it's another corner for City. This time they're going to the edge of the area with John Stones, but Abada is there to head. Again, clear-ish, not fully clear. I've just realised there is a full Premier League programme going on at the moment as well. Spurs play West Ham this evening, so we don't actually get to see what Spurs are up to. Spurs, realistically, are the only team catching us. We're finishing first or second, which either way I think is a record high league finish for Brighton. So it's still an incredible season, even if we bottle it from here. But let's face it, we're 1-0 up at half-time. If we bottle it from here, it's a bit sad, isn't it? I'm going to be a little upset if that happens. Bailey trying to drill the crossover, but it's intercepted by one of City's many Alvarez's, and they're now trying to break clear. But Walker Peters intercepts, and Walker Peters has the shot from range. He is playing for his shirt for next year. He knows Rico Lewis joins us permanently in the summer, and he is trying to make sure that he remains in that spot as our starting right back. Abada now, he's had a great game today. Smith Rowe turns, looks to drive towards the City defenders. I don't think that's a penalty kick. Bernardo Silva brings him down on the edge of the area, but I think not only was he running out of the area, I think he'd already made it out as well. It would be a soft penalty, this one, and it's not a penalty. But can we make something from the free kick? It looks like we might actually... No. Oh, we are going to get to see the free kick happen. Smith Rowe plays it across, and Lewis Dunk with the opportunity as our captain, our longest serving player, to rubber stamp a Premier League, and he can't quite do it. It goes the wrong side of the post, and hopefully he's not going to end up ruining that for the rest of his life. We need to go on and win this Premier League now, because we don't want... Lewis Dunk never dreamt of this. Let's deliver it for him, because it might well be his final season with us. You know what I'm like with old men. Right, we're going to make some changes. We've got tired legs. João Pedro is going to come on the left-hand side. We don't have anyone to come on the right. This is the problem we had in that previous game in Europe. But what we can do is... I mean, we've got to try and keep things fresh. It seems mad to do this in this scenario, but at least they're both fresh. We're also going to take off Vermeeren, and I guess Beraldo is the guy who's going to go into that spot there. This seems like a stupid thing to do, but it just seems more logical than leaving players on who are really, really struggling because they've played so much football in quick succession. So we'll do it and hope it won't backfire. Ferguson plays it back to Vermeeren. A lot of pressure on Vermeeren now as the only recognised central midfielder on the pitch for us. And, fiddlesticks. I can hear you all telling me I shouldn't have made those changes. I maintain we've got injured players on the pitch, or tired players. You can't leave them on because they're just not going to make it. They're going to make mistakes. If we have to change the shape to get players playing in their right positions, and so be it. I mean, I guess we could have put Ferguson or Abraham out wide and kept our shape, but it just doesn't seem like a very logical step to take. That being said, Ferguson is now shattered and not playing well. Oh, and we've just not got the substitutions. We've run out of players. How handy would it be now to have Enciso to bring on? For either of those options, how useful it would be to have Rico Lewis. I mean, to be fair, Lewis wouldn't have been able to play in this one anyway, but we don't have any more attacking players. I think Ferguson and Smith Rowe just have to suck it up and stay on the pitch. We can bring a Stupinian on at left back, but those two boys are just going to have to run themselves into the ground. We're going to offer some encouragement. I mean, there's always the possibility that even if we mess up here, Spurs mess up as well against West Ham. It's a big game for them. West Ham would enjoy few things more than robbing Spurs of a Premier League title after they've waited so long for one. So, you know, maybe West Ham do us a favour, but just the squad size, the running out of players, it's cost us in that first leg against Saltsburg because our players got tired. We had to make changes. And we didn't have the players to bring off the bench, and it's affecting us again here. And the thing is, our squad size is as big as it can be whilst fitting into a European squad of 25. I talked about it earlier in the season. The thing that's really causing us a problem now is not having homegrown at club players, because for us to have a squad of 25 for Europe, it's actually effectively a squad of 22, 23, which then when you pick up a few injuries and you get the fixtures pile up, leaves us in this position of not having enough players to make important changes when we need to make them. We would have loved to have had Enciso, Thiago Almada, several of these players that are around and about the club, but we can't keep them around because if we keep them around, they can't go in the European squad. And if they don't go in the European squad, we have a repeat of what happened in the first season. Everyone gets unhappy and we're not in this position in the first place. We can't win. I'm very upset about it. I really do need that Klopp cap on. I'm having a proper whinge, but we have qualified for the Champions League. So if nothing else, that's an incredible achievement for Brighton. Let's see what our budgets are for a Champions League season next season. We need some homegrown at club players. Now we're in the Champions League. Can we bring this guy back? He'd be so helpful. He's homegrown at club, isn't he? He would be so handy to have around. Is there anybody else who's Champions League quality, who's homegrown at Brighton? Let me know down in the comment section. We might have to go all out to sign Ben White, which sounds bonkers, but we might have to just to give us that extra player in situations like the one we've just seen. Because again, now we're going into this Conference League game. No Pizarro, no Beraldo. They're both unregistered because we couldn't fit them in the squad. We're going to struggle to put an 11 out. We haven't got any central midfielders. I don't know who's going to play. I don't know who's going to play central midfield for us in this second leg of a European semi-final because we've run out of players. Get Billy Gilmore back. Right, let's hope West Ham do us a favour. Let's just hit continue. No. Well, this will be tomorrow. Crystal Palace and Sheffield United, they're both matches we should win. Who are Spurs going to be playing? Spurs have got Wolves, which they should win. And then on the last day, Newcastle away. I mean, Newcastle could do us a big, big favour. And we're going to need it. But that's for tomorrow. For now, let's get ourselves into a European final and cheer up. So the answer to who's going to play central midfield is a not fully fit Patrick Berg. He can do 75 minutes. He's just going to have to do as much as he can. And if he collapses, we've then got a still officially injured, but potentially, I mean, Andre's not even ready for a fitness test. He had sprained knee ligaments. I mean, I guess we could throw Andre in if we absolutely had to. If we're 4-0 up, Joel Hato can play there. But I think that's a big if, isn't it? This is our team for the second leg of the Conference League semi-final. It's Perry in goal, a back four of Estupinian, Dunk, Diamande and Walker-Peters. Berg and Vermeeren in midfield. Bailey, Smith Rowe and Abada behind Ferguson up front. Oh, all these injuries and things and tiredness, and Tammy Abraham still hasn't started a game since Christmas. Neither Ferguson or Tammy are flexible at all with the position they can play. They're the only players in the squad who can't do multiple roles. Actually, that's not true. Lewis Dunk is the other one. But everyone else can play multiple roles, so they can cover for each other. We can be a bit tactically flexible. For Tammy to play, Ferguson doesn't play. There's not really a way to play them both together without changing the system. And as you saw against Man City, changing the system leads to us throwing away a lead and everyone shouting at me in the comments section. So I guess if we absolutely had to, if Berg just pulled up now, I guess we go to a flat 4-4-2 with Smith Rowe in central midfield and bring Tammy Abraham on for him and stick him up front. That was the other thing I was toying with. But again, completely changing the system for the second leg of a European semi-final to a system we've not tried at all at any point probably isn't the best plan I've ever had. But players, eh? I mean, can we have this guy now? He signs for us in the summer. It's already prearranged. He scored against us. He got the equalizer in the first leg. He'd be ideal now because he can play central midfield. If he was here now, he'd be starting for us. If he doesn't want to become a villain in our eyes before he even arrives, I suggest he doesn't score against us again today. It is quite interesting to see how they're using him, though, and getting these kind of performances out of him. Attacking midfield as a shadow striker. So he's not necessarily going to get there ahead of Smith Rowe. And I guess Smith Rowe could drop a little bit deeper, like I was just saying. But it's definitely the best role for him seems to be in that attacking midfield position. It's where he played in the first leg. It's where he's playing again today. Very much shadow striker. And, oh my word, we can't be losing to a team from Austria. We're trying to win the Premier League. We can't be losing to an Austrian team. That just seems silly. Right, Vermeeren trying to get it through to Smith Rowe, but it can't make it through. And now we've absolutely clonked them. I thought that was going to be the typical big game Football Manager gives you a red card thing for Smith Rowe, but he's got away with it there. Remains 0-0. We just need someone to step up and be a hero. It's times like this we realise just how much we rely on Ansu Fati. I talk about us being a team where we share the goals around. Yeah, we kind of do. But goodness me, Ansu Fati is important as a standout player for us, and we miss him not having him in the team. But it remains 0-0. We're not losing yet, so that's a good thing. Smalling has scored for Roma in the other semi-final. I mean, Roma looks like a terrifying proposition in the final if we make it through. If we can't get past Saltsburg without a kerfuffle, Roma, we don't stand any chance. But I don't know if I can cope with losing 2 European finals in a row in consecutive seasons. Right, Berg has done absolutely all he can. So I guess we put Hato in and don't fiddle with the system. That seems to be the sensible thing to do. We are going to bring Tammy Abraham on for Evan Ferguson. And then I'm looking at options on this bench. João Pedro is fit. So I think we just throw him on. He can go on for Abada and just try and mix things up a bit, offer something a little bit different. He is fresh. Abraham, Pedro, they are both fresh. So hopefully he can get out there and create something for us. Right, Smith Rowe is now struggling. Sunset was injured in the first leg, but looks like he's now fully fit to come back in there as well. And then we're back in the same situation we were in before. Only defenders now sat on that bench. So I guess we just do the usual Valley on for a Estupinian, just because it gives us a little bit more energy out of left back, which is a crucial attacking spot for us. But they're shattered. They're shattered. We need the season to be over. We've played a few too many games. We're done. We're spent. 0-0. We can make one more change, but we've literally just got 2 centre-backs and an injured midfielder who shouldn't be playing on the bench. So I guess in the circumstances, we bring on Baselli for Walker-Peters, who's tiring, and cross our fingers and hope we get a little bit of luck. Hope the game has decided to let us have some trophies, because remember, as good as this season has been, we still haven't won a trophy with Brighton yet. And our entire goal for this save is win a trophy. If we bottle this, we've already kind of bottled the Premier League today, and we play Spurs in the FA Cup final. They're probably better than us as well. We could potentially come out of this season with no silverware to show for it. And then it's still a very good season if that happens, but not quite. Not quite as impressive, is it, as that treble we thought we might be able to win. Right, Bailey plays it forward to Vermeer, and who pokes it into the path of Tammy Abraham. And now Bailey, Valley bursting out of left back. Like, that's what we brought him on to do. But he can't keep his shot down, and it remains 0-0. I can't cope with a penalty shootout. Please, not a penalty shootout, boys and girls. Just give it to get a corner onto the head of Tammy with a minute to go. That would be lovely if we could do that. All the way back to Lucas Perry. I don't think I've done a penalty shootout on FM24 yet. I'm not ready for my first one to be in a video. I don't think I can cope. Right, Bailey, forward to Sunset. Sunset has been brilliant in this tournament, by the way, this year, and that's a lovely ball into the path of a very, very tired Leon Bailey. Baselli, the young centre-back, playing at right back, gets into a shooting position, and as you can imagine, misses. Probably should have tried to find Tammy Abraham there. Remains 0-0. It's now Tammy o'clock. From this move, get it onto Tammy Abraham's head or João Pedro's head. We don't care whose head. I probably would have preferred it to be Tammy's, because Tammy probably scores there. But it's still 0-0. That was probably going to be the final chance of the game, you would think, unless Saltsburg are going to charge up the other end and really kick us in the nuts now. But Diamande steps out of defence and takes care of that problem. Bailey lumps it forward. João Pedro on the right-hand side has a man underlapping him if he wants to use him, but instead, as the freshest man on the pitch, decides to just turn around and go backwards. Diamande to Vermeeren now. Vermeeren plays it into Sunset. There's Tammy Abraham, and that's the goal! Oh, my goodness me! Oh my goodness me. With 90 seconds to spare, Tammy Abraham is the man who surely at this point is the match winner. Oh, it wasn't his head, but he has been such a big player for us this season. Tammy Abraham setting up a potential final against the team, of course, that we signed him from. He plays for Roma, doesn't he? I think I've got that right. That being said, Lucas Perry. That's the first thing he's had to do for ages. And now it's a corner. They've sent their goalkeeper up. They've whacked the ball. There is their goalkeeper playing it back out onto the right-hand side. This has got to be the last attack of the game. That's heartbreaking. Offside, referee? Are you letting me have that? No? So it's a penalty shootout after all? Brilliant. I hate this game. The goalkeeper's involved in it. I can't even see the option on the set piece creator to send the goalkeeper forward. My goalkeeper's massive. I'd send him forward all the time. Oh my word. Right, well, penalties then. I'm going to hate every part of this. Hopefully Lucas Perry's a really good penalty shootout hero. I don't know though, because we've never done one. Oh, well, this feels like a very harsh way for us to be knocked out of the Conference League. I guess it would have been harsh on Saltsburg as well to lose to a 119th minute goal. But, oh my word. Come on, Perry. Show us you're a superstar. He hasn't done yet. I mean, he has in the year and a half he's been here. Tammy Abraham, about to go from hero to villain, isn't he? I've played Football Manager before. I know what's about to happen. I can't even look. I look over there, though, and I can see it on the OBS screen. There was no way to look away. I can't believe that's happened. It just feels scripted. I know it's not. I hope it's not. I'm very confident it's not. Oh, this hurts. Are we actually going to win nothing this year? Because that seems probably my fault for going for all three. Maybe we should have made a decision a little bit earlier to minimise some of the games, get knocked out of the FA Cup early, decide not to worry about the Conference League because ultimately who cares, and go all in on the Premier League. So many question marks. We are going to keep trying to put a positive spin on it because obviously we've qualified for the Champions League. That's great. But we would like a piece of silverware as well. Big pressure on Leon Bailey. Just head it in. You're the aerial assassin. Right, now we need a moment from Lucas Perry. We can have one more twist in this. Yeah, we thought we'd won it. I was convinced we'd won it when Tammy scored. So maybe Perry can give me that extra little bit of hope as well. It's going to be one of my boys from my Twitch save. Dedich plays for my Chelsea team over on Twitch and has absolutely no idea what side his bread's buttered, does he? That's him dropped from Chelsea. And that's us out of the Conference League. That, boys and girls, is what's known as quite a disappointing episode. So, tomorrow, let's see if we can win the Premier League, shall we? The way we've played the last few games, it seems unlikely. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.